All right, guys, so we have a bit of a bombshell Epstein update here. Take a look at this from the Daily Beast. A MAGA candidate is outed as the new owner of Epstein's famous Zorro Ranch, which, funny enough, might even be his most evil property. I know people think of the island as the most evil. This Zorro Ranch one might be the most evil and the most disturbing, okay? Several Epstein survivors have said they suffered abuse at the sprawling ranch. A Trump devotee running for Texas comptroller purchased Jeffrey Epstein's secluded desert ranch in New Mexico, where multiple survivors said they were abused by the late sex offender. Records obtained by the Santa Fe New Mexican revealed that businessman Don Huffines, 67, bought Epstein's infamous Zorro Ranch in Santa Fe County years after the disgraced financier's death. The sprawling property with a 26,700 square foot hilltop mansion was sold for an undisclosed amount in 2023 to San Rafael Ranch LLC, which the New Mexican tied to Huffines and his family through public records requests. The property was valued at $27.5 million when it was first listed for sale in July 2021, 2 years after Epstein took his own life at a New York correctional facility. So the fact that this is an important point, guys. The fact that they bought it with an LLC means they were trying to hide that they were the ones buying it. Okay? Gee, I wonder why they would try to hide that they're buying a notorious pedophile ranch, which... More on the crimes there in a minute. Look how big this thing is, too, by the way. Look how big and disturbing this is. Remember, in the Epstein files, we learned that while Epstein was in prison, he won, like, the New Mexico lottery. You remember that? It was like 80 million or some shit like that. Which goes to, I mean, it seems like he had New Mexico politicians in the palm of his hand. In his, you know, it seemed like they were super close and they were bought off. Okay? And, like, they somehow rigged the lottery in New Mexico to give it to... This guy? Okay, let's keep going. The ranch was valued for tax purposes at $21.1 million for tax year 2023, but San Rafael Ranch LLC protested, arguing in part that the notoriety of the property and the sale price justified a lower valuation and thus lower taxes, according to the New Mexican. The Santa Fe County assessor later valued the property at $13.4 million for tax year 2023. The following year, it was renamed from 49 Zorro Ranch Road to 49 Rancho San Rafael Road. 4 years after Mr. Epstein's death, the Huffines family purchased property in New Mexico, listed at public auction, whose proceeds benefited his victims. Prior to the auction listing, they have never visited the property, Huffines campaign spokesperson Alan Blakemore said in a statement. Huffines, a former state senator from Dallas, bills himself as a courageous MAGA Republican seeking to doge Texas. Oh my God. So you want to doge Texas, so you want to cut pediatric cancer research and Meals on Wheels and every good social safety net program. I mean, that's what it means to doge something. He boasts endorsements from Senator Ted Cruz, conservative influencer Riley Gaines, and the late right-wing activist Charlie Kirk. Polling released last week showed Huffines holding a steady lead over three other candidates in the GOP primary for Texas comptroller. Again, keep that in mind as we go through the rest of this year. He's running for Texas comptroller. Keep that in mind, okay? He's running for comptroller to bring President Trump's bold leadership and business-minded discipline to Austin. Oh my God. Business-minded discipline? He's exploding the debt and the deficit. He's gutting healthcare for working people and giving all the money to the billionaire class, to the Epstein class. Oh my God. He has a proven record of fighting for taxpayers, standing with President Trump and leading with courage when it matters most. Epstein purchased the Zorro Ranch in 1993 from former New Mexico Governor Bruce King. The notorious pedophile once confided to scientists that he wanted to spread his DNA across the human race by impregnating women at the ranch. Remember I said it was the most evil of the places? Here you go, according to four sources who spoke to the New York Times. One of the things in the Epstein files, by the way, he had a fucking ultrasound machine at this ranch. There are letters written by girls who say they were like forced Jeffrey Epstein incubators who were kept at the ranch. Several survivors said they were abused by Epstein at the ranch during their youth. Among them was Jane, who said she was only 14 when she suffered abuse at Epstein's properties, including the one in New Mexico. Virginia Giuffre, one of the most outspoken victims, was also pictured at the ranch. Oh boy. In 2019, the New Mexico State Land Office turned over 400 pages of documents related to Epstein's purchase of the property. New Mexico lawmakers are pushing for the creation of a bipartisan truth commission to get to the bottom of Epstein's crimes at Zorro Ranch. What we're going to try to do is get everything on the record in the time span that he was there. State Representative Andrea Romero told KOB4 last week. When we heard the allegations from his various victims of people who alleged that they were trafficked here, that they were sexually abused here, some as children, I'm just heartbroken, and it's just so disgusting to think that happened on our watch at all. Okay, so remember, one of the stories we got at this ranch, in one of the emails, it is verified that there were 2 girls who were killed. They were killed and they were buried in the desert, okay? It was like, rough sex gone wrong. They were killed, they were buried in the desert. That's what we learned from some of the files. We discussed those files on this show in one of our long, detailed Epstein files segment. You can go back and find them. And, we've done 5 or 6 of them, and they're long and they're jam-packed with a whole bunch of direct documents from the files that we discuss, okay? So murder happened at this ranch. Ready? Sarah McGee for Texas says the following. In case you missed it, the guy who bought Epstein's Zorro Ranch and has refused to let investigators on the property to look for the bodies of children just recently appeared on Steve Bannon's show and is running for Texas comptroller. Okay, the comptroller, ready for this? The comptroller's main function will be administering the new voucher scam, which will give him access to the private data of every child in the state. I swear to God, Texas, don't you dare elect this man. This is like another thing we learned in the Epstein files. I'm blanking on the name of the country. If you remember it, put it in the comment section below. You can go back. We have it in a previous segment. I'm just blanking on the name right now. But there's this company which basically takes pictures for schools, like all around the country. They have these contracts all around the country with all these schools. They take pictures of the kids, okay? And the person who owns that company is in the Epstein files and is a pedophile. And now a hardcore MAGA Republican who owns Epstein's ranch, who's refusing to let investigators in there to find the dead bodies of the children who were killed, okay? This motherfucker is now running for a position where he has access to all of the children in the state of Texas. Their data, their information. I know this is a lot for people to swallow, but it's the truth. Like, when you see in the Epstein files, you have Epstein talking to guys who are his scouters or his recruiters who go to these poor developing countries and they literally handpick children. And they send Epstein pictures and they go, how's this one? How's that one? And Epstein will say, well, what's the height of this one? What's the weight of this one? And they discuss buying and selling children like they're cars. Epstein had at least a dozen passports of girls from these post-Soviet bloc countries that he had because they were in the human trafficking business, okay? And we know, the recruiters got paid $3,000 for this kind of person and $4,000 for that kind of person. There's a fucking pay scale. This is all out in the files. And I want to repeat this. Now, this MAGA Republican running for Texas comptroller where he'd have access to the data for all the kids. This motherfucker was just on Sloppy Steve's show. Sloppy Steve was a bestie with Epstein, and he's refusing to allow investigators onto the ranch to search for the dead bodies of those kids. How deep does the rot fucking go? How deep does it's like when Trump said to Marjorie Taylor Greene, what did he say? He said, you're going to take down my friends. Good. We want them to be taken down. It might hurt the global economy if you out the cabal of pedophile rapists. Okay. Out the billionaire cabal of pedophile rapists. Everybody wants it. We need justice. We need accountability. We need to clean this mess up, right? But no, look how intertwined all this shit is. So just absolutely disgusting stuff, man. That guy needs to drop the fuck out. And that guy needs to be investigated himself. Are you kidding me? And by the way, Sloppy Steve's going around, and we're going to discuss this tomorrow too. I have a segment on this for you tomorrow. Sloppy Steve's going around acting like, he's the next leader of MAGA after Trump. Meanwhile, there's text messages with him and Bannon, there's text messages with Bannon and Epstein where Bannon is saying to Epstein, I think you're a god. I look at you like a god. That's your hero? Populist right-wingers? That's your hero? Anti-establishment right-wingers? He's the insider of all insiders. The motherfucker worked for Goldman Sachs, and he was the best friend of the notorious pedophile CEO of Elite Sex Crimes Incorporated. And he knew what he was doing. He was with them. Why was it in one of Steve Bannon's properties, his bathtub had acid that was found in it when he sold the property? Why is that? Why did that happen? Again, this stuff is so dark and so disturbing and so disgusting, and everybody needs to know this guy needs to drop the fuck out and he needs to be investigated. You can't give this guy access to the data of all the kids in Texas. I mean, this web is so much more intricate and complex than even I ever imagined. And we're just getting the beginning of it, right? Think about it. In the files, we still don't even have any specific evidence of pictures and videos of the criminals caught in the act. When we know it's out there. We know it's out there. His Palm Beach house was bugged. His island was bugged. His New York house was bugged. We know there's stuff, even of the president. None of that stuff's out. None of that stuff's out. The most powerful people in the world are all part of a pedophile billionaire rape cult. They are. That's what they are. And there's blackmail on all of them. And we're all just sitting around acting like this is normal, acting like this is okay. None of this is okay. And when Trump again attacks Iran, which he's going to do, the question is going to be, wait, is he doing it because he thinks it's the right policy? Or is he doing it because Netanyahu came to him and said, all right, look, enough fucking around. You're going to do that regime change or else. Or else what? Well, we got these pictures and we got these videos from Epstein and we have them in our vault in Tel Aviv. Now, they could stay there or we could release them. You tell me which one. So when Trump attacks Iran again, you need to ask yourself, I wonder, for which reason is he doing it? Is it just because he's a warmonger imperialist freak? Or is it because they're holding the blackmail over his head and twisting his arm into doing it? Either one is unacceptable. Either one means the motherfucker's got to resign and go to fucking prison, okay? But this stuff is, man, every time I talk about this, I feel like I got to take a shower afterwards. One more thing about this. Russell Huffines. He works in the White House Office of Cabinet Affairs. He is the Associate Director of Agency Outreach, which sounds like a totally fucking made-up thing. Sounds like a totally made-up thing, because it probably is, but he's an insider. And so they snuggle up to power, they get protected, even though, again, this guy is a massive criminal. The new owner of Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, Don Huffines, is ignoring calls for an independent investigation into whether children's bodies may be buried on the property, because, of course, he is. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.